I just wanted to go over the basic anatomical diagram of a cow's digestive system, specifically the stomachs. I wanted to point out that the esophagus goes straight into the rumen and the reticulum, while the small intestine is directly connected to the abomasum.
Next, I will talk about the evolution of the ruminant. The first ruminants evolved about 50 million years ago, with the first ruminants being small, forest-dwelling omnivores that usually weighed less than 5 kilograms or about 11 pounds. A few million years later, the planet experienced what we call the Oligocene cooling event, which led to the emergence of ruminant herbivores. And this occurred about 34 million years ago. This event caused a global temperature decrease of about 34 degrees, which resulted in the retreat of many tropical regions and the growth of many grasslands. This forced animals to rely on their gut bacteria to help them digest those grasses, which resulted in a co-op between the ruminant and its gut bacteria.
Alright, so the first stomach of the cow is the rumen. It is also commonly referred to as the paunch. If you recall from our second slide, you would see that the rumen is the largest of the four stomachs, and it occupies almost the entire left side of the cow's abdominal cavity. The rumen is very large because it's very important for the cow's digestive system. In order for its large size, the rumen is lined with papilla so that its surface area is increased. Now, as it being the first stomach, it has a very important job. This job is to ferment the grass that the cow eats. This is what turns into cud, and if you've ever heard of a cow chewing its cud, this is where it comes from. Alright, if you're like me and have never heard of what chewing cud is for a cow, let me tell you about it. So cud, as you learned from the last slide, comes from the rumen, and this is just a mixture of the fermented food that the cow digests and then gets fermented in the rumen. So after it's fermented, it goes up the esophagus into the cow's mouth, and the cow will chew it again. Most cows can be seen chewing cud for about 8 or more hours a day, which is a very long time. But if you see a cow chewing its cud, just know that that means it's a happy, comfortable cow. And after it's done chewing its cud, it'll be swallowed again, but this time it goes to the reticulum. Okay, so on to the second stomach. It is the reticulum. It has some other names known as the hardware stomach or the honeycomb. It can be known to be a hardware stomach because the reticulum actually will protect the rest of the digestive tract from the things the cow ate that it shouldn't. So anything like screws or any type of metal or hardware that the cow ate while eating grass will be stopped in this section so that it doesn't damage the rest of the digestive tract. It can also be known as the honeycomb stomach because if you look at this picture, you'll see that the reticulum's ridges are actually in a honeycomb arrangement. And if you refer back to the picture from earlier of the anatomy of the cow, the reticulum rests directly behind the heart. So a fun fact about cows and their stomachs is that a cow can actually develop a disease called hardware disease, and this disease is when the cow has eaten so much metal and hardware and things it shouldn't have that it gets sick. So it can actually be prevented by inserting a magnet into the rumen or the reticulum so that when the cows eat things that they shouldn't that are metal, it will actually cling to the magnet and not end up hurting the stomach in the long run.
Next, I will talk about the omasum. So the omasum is the third compartment of the ruminant digestive tract and is located between the reticulum and the abomasum. It consists of plies, which are actually folds of mucosa that have many papillae on their surface, which increase the surface area for absorption of water and salts. Only foods that are broken down into very fine particles, as well as liquid and microorganisms, can actually pass between the plies and go into the abomasum. The omasum is sometimes often called the book stomach, And this is because the interior of the omasum to some people looks like pages of a book. Some other common names that are associated with the Omasum include many plies and the Stockman's Bible.
I'm going to be talking about the fourth and final stomach, the Abomasum. It is known as the true stomach. It is called the true stomach because it has enzymes and acid that breaks down grass. It is similar to the human stomach because it has that acid in it, whereas the other stomachs don't. And like the Abomasum, it has papillaries that can absorb nutrients, and then whatever is not absorbed will be sent to the intestines and then later turn into poop. Next, I want to talk about the differences between cows versus humans. One of the big ones I want to talk about is that cows have a four-chambered stomach known as the rumen, and the humans have a one-chambered stomach known as a monogastric. Cows can ferment cellulose. Cellulose is an organic compound found in plants such as grass. It is a major source of energy. Since cows are able to ferment grass and break down the cellulose, they can process and use this energy. Humans cannot ferment and digest it, leaving it to go to waste and discard in feces. Cows require more fiber in their diet due to the fact of them being a herbivore. And then humans have a generalized food habit, meaning that there's not one essential thing that they need to eat to maintain their lifestyle.